Hazrat Musa, as the prophet of resilience, guidance, and divine miracles. Hazrat Musa, as, known as Moses in Judeo-Christian traditions, is one of the most revered prophets in Islam, celebrated for his unwavering faith, leadership, and divine mission to guide the children of Israel, Bani Israel. As the most frequently mentioned individual in the Quran, his name appearing 136 times across nearly 50 chapters, his life is a cornerstone of Islamic teachings, offering profound lessons in patience, trust in Allah, and resistance against oppression. This comprehensive biography explores every facet of Hazrat Musa's life, from his miraculous birth under Pharaoh's tyranny to his prophetic mission, divine encounters, and lasting legacy in Islamic tradition. Drawing from the Quran, Hadith, and scholarly interpretations, this account aims to be as detailed and expansive as possible. The era of Pharaoh's oppression. Hazrat Musa, as, was born in Egypt during a period of severe persecution under the rule of a tyrannical pharaoh, referred to as Pharaoh in Islamic tradition. The Quran does not name this pharaoh, but historical estimates place Musa's life around the 13th or 14th century BCE, possibly during the New Kingdom period of Egypt. The pharaoh, described as an arrogant ruler who claimed divinity, enslaved the Bani Israel, descendants of Prophet Yaqub, as Jacob, who had settled in Egypt during the time of Prophet Yusuf, as Joseph. The Bani Israel, once respected, were reduced to slaves, forced into grueling labor and subjected to systemic oppression. The Quran describes Pharaoh's cruelty. Truly Pharaoh elated himself in the land and broke up its people into sections, depressing a group among them. Their sons he slew, but he kept alive their females, for he was indeed a maker of mischief. Quran 28:4. A prophecy or dream warned Pharaoh that a male child from the Bani Israel would challenge his throne, prompting him to order the slaughter of all newborn Israelite boys, creating a climate of fear and despair. The Bani Israel. The Bani Israel were a monotheistic community tracing their lineage to Prophet Ibrahim, as Abraham, through his son Ishaq, as Isaac, and grandson Yaqub, as. By Musa's time, their numbers had grown, but their enslavement stripped them of dignity and autonomy. Despite their hardships, they clung to the hope of divine deliverance, a promise rooted in their covenant with Allah. Musa's mission would center on liberating them from bondage and guiding them toward monotheism, reinforcing the legacy of their forefathers. Early life, a miraculous beginning. Birth and divine protection. Hazrat Musa, as, son of Imran and his wife, unnamed in the Quran but often identified as Yaqubid in Judeo-Christian sources, was born into this perilous environment. His mother, guided by divine inspiration, concealed her pregnancy to protect him from Pharaoh's decree. The Quran narrates, "And we inspired the mother of Musa, saying, Suckle him, but when you fear for him, then cast him into the river and fear not, nor grieve. Verily, we shall bring him back to you and make him one of our messengers." Quran 28:7. When hiding Musa became impossible, his mother placed him in a waterproof basket and set it adrift on the Nile River, entrusting his fate to Allah. His elder sister, Maryam, not to be confused with Maryam, mother of Prophet Isa, as, followed the basket along the riverbank. Miraculously, the basket floated to the palace of Pharaoh, where it was discovered by Asiya, Pharaoh's wife, a compassionate and righteous woman. Moved by the infant's innocence, Asiya pleaded with Pharaoh to spare him, saying, "A comfort of the eye for me and for you. Kill him not, perhaps he may be of benefit to us, or we may adopt him as a son." Quran 28:9. Against Pharaoh's cruel policy, Musa was adopted into the royal household, a divine irony that placed Allah's prophet under the protection of his future adversary. Reunion with his mother. Musa refused to nurse from any of the palace's wet nurses, causing distress among the royal staff. Maryam, observing the situation, suggested a nurse who could feed him, none other than Musa's own mother. The Quran recounts, "So we restored him to his mother that she might be content and not grieve and that she would know that the promise of Allah is true." Quran 28:13. This reunion was a testament to Allah's mercy, allowing Musa's mother to care for him in the palace while maintaining the guise of a hired nurse. Musa grew up in luxury, surrounded by Egypt's elite, yet unaware of his Israelite heritage. Upbringing and character. Raised as a prince, Musa received an education befitting royalty, likely including literacy, mathematics, and military training. The Quran describes him as physically strong and courageous, with an innate sense of justice, Quran 28:15. Despite his privileged upbringing, he remained sensitive to the suffering of the enslaved Bani Israel, a trait that would shape his prophetic mission. His dual identity, raised in Pharaoh's court yet tied to the oppressed Israelites, positioned him uniquely to bridge two worlds. Young adulthood, trials and exile. The incident in the city. As a young man, Musa witnessed the stark contrast between the opulence of Pharaoh's court and the misery of the Bani Israel. One day, while walking in the city, he saw an Egyptian overseer brutally beating an Israelite slave. Moved by compassion, Musa intervened, striking the Egyptian with a blow that unintentionally killed him. The Quran narrates, "And he entered the city at a time of unawareness of its people, and he found there two men fighting, one from his party and the other from his foes. The man of his own party asked for his help against the one from his foes, so Musa struck him with his fist and killed him." Quran 28:15. Realizing the gravity of his action, Musa sought Allah's forgiveness. He said, "My Lord, verily, I have wronged my soul, so forgive me." Then he forgave him. Verily, he is the oft-forgiving, most merciful, Quran 28:16. The incident sparked outrage among the Egyptians, and Pharaoh's advisors plotted to execute Musa. Warned by a well-wisher, and there came a man running, from the farthest end of the city. He said, "O Musa! Verily, the chiefs are taking counsel together about you, to kill you, so escape." Quran 28:20. Musa fled Egypt, leaving behind his royal life. Refuge in Midian. Musa journeyed to Midian, modern-day northwest Saudi Arabia or southern Jordan, a region inhabited by a pastoral community. Exhausted and alone, he arrived at a well, where he saw two women struggling to water their flock amidst a crowd of shepherds. Demonstrating his chivalry, Musa helped them, lifting heavy buckets to water their animals. Impressed by his strength and kindness, one of the women invited him to meet their father, identified in Islamic tradition as Prophet Shu'aib, as Jethro. Shu'aib, grateful for Musa's assistance, offered him hospitality and proposed that Musa work for him for 8 to 10 years in exchange for marrying one of his daughters, Sapphira, Zipporah. Musa accepted, marrying Sapphira and living in Midian for a decade, tending flocks and learning humility and patience. This period was a formative chapter, preparing him for his prophetic mission. The Quran praises Musa's time in Midian, highlighting his humility, and when he turned his face toward Midian, he said, "Perchance my Lord will guide me in the right path." Quran 28:22. Prophethood, the divine call. The burning bush and Allah's revelation. After completing his term in Midian, Musa set out with his family toward Egypt. While traveling near Mount Tur, Sinai, he noticed a fire glowing in the distance. Seeking warmth or guidance, he approached the fire alone, leaving his family behind. At the sacred valley of Tuwa, he encountered a divine miracle, a bush burning with radiant light but not consumed by flames. The Quran describes this pivotal moment, and when he came to it, he was called, "O Musa, indeed, I am your Lord, so remove your sandals. Indeed, you are in the sacred valley of Tuwa. And I have chosen you, so listen to what is revealed to you. Indeed, I am Allah. There is no deity except me, so worship me and establish prayer for my remembrance." Quran 20:11-14. Allah spoke directly to Musa, an honor that earned him the title Kalamullah, the one who speaks with Allah. Allah appointed him as a prophet and messenger, tasking him with confronting Pharaoh and liberating the Bani Israel. To equip him for this daunting mission, Allah bestowed two miracles: his staff, which could transform into a serpent, and his hand, which glowed brilliantly when placed under his arm. Quran 20:17-22. Musa, aware of his past in Egypt and his speech impediment, expressed humility, "My Lord, expand for me my breast, and ease my task for me, and loosen the knot from my tongue, that they may understand my speech." Quran 20:25-28. Allah reassured him, granting his brother Harun, Aaron, as a co-prophet to assist him. Spiritual significance of the encounter. Islamic scholars, such as the sixth Imam, Jafar al-Sadiq, interpret Musa's journey to Tuwa as a spiritual quest. His turning toward Midian symbolizes his heart's alignment with Allah, and the command to remove his sandals signifies shedding worldly attachments to focus solely on divine guidance. Sufi mystic Ibn Arabi describes Musa as a fusion of spiritual virtues, embodying resilience and divine favor, qualities that prepared him to face Pharaoh's tyranny. Mission to Pharaoh, confronting tyranny. Return to Egypt. Musa and Harun returned to Egypt, armed with divine miracles and a message of monotheism. They approached Pharaoh, urging him to worship Allah alone and free the Bani Israel. The Quran instructs them to speak to him gently so that perhaps he may be reminded or fear Allah, Quran 20:44. Despite their diplomatic approach, Pharaoh, who claimed divinity, mocked their message and demanded proof of their prophethood. The miracles and the sorcerers' contest. Musa performed his miracles before Pharaoh's court, his staff transformed into a serpent, devouring the ropes and staffs of Pharaoh's sorcerers, and his hand glowed with divine light. The sorcerers, skilled in magic, were astounded and recognized Musa's power as divine, proclaiming faith in Allah despite Pharaoh's threats. The Quran recounts, so the magicians fell down prostrate. They said, "We believe in the Lord of Harun and Musa," Quran 20 hours 70 minutes. Enraged, Pharaoh executed the sorcerers, but their conversion marked a public challenge to his authority. The plagues of Egypt. Pharaoh's defiance prompted Allah to send a series of plagues upon Egypt as warnings: floods, locusts, lice, frogs, and the transformation of the Nile's water into blood. Each plague intensified Egypt's suffering, yet Pharaoh remained obstinate, attributing the calamities to Musa's sorcery. The Quran states, "And indeed, we punished the people of Pharaoh with years of drought and shortness of fruits, that they might remember and take heed," Quran 7:130. Despite pleas from his people, Pharaoh refused to relent, hardening his heart against Allah's signs. The Exodus and the parting of the sea. Escape from Egypt. Faced with Pharaoh's intransigence, Allah commanded Musa to lead the Bani Israel out of Egypt under cover of night. As they fled, Pharaoh pursued them with his army, determined to crush the rebellion. The Bani Israel reached the Red Sea, trapped between the water and Pharaoh's forces. In despair, some Israelites feared annihilation, but Musa, trusting in Allah, reassured them, "Nay, verily. With me is my Lord, he will guide me," Quran 26:62. At Allah's command, Musa struck the sea with his staff, and it parted miraculously, creating a dry path flanked by walls of water. The Quran describes, "Then we inspired Musa, saying, 'Strike the sea with your staff.' And it parted, and each portion was like a great towering mountain," Quran 26:63. The Bani Israel crossed safely, but when Pharaoh's army followed, the sea closed, drowning them. The Quran notes, "So we took retribution from them, and we drowned them in the sea, because they denied our signs and were heedless of them," Quran 7:136. Pharaoh's body, preserved as a sign for future generations, is cited in the Quran, "This day we shall preserve your body, that you may be a sign for those who come after you," Quran 10 hours 92 minutes. Significance of the miracle. The parting of the sea is one of the most iconic miracles in Islamic tradition, symbolizing Allah's power and protection of his servants. The event is commemorated on the day of Ashura, 10th of Muharram, when Muslims fast in gratitude for the Bani Israel's deliverance, following the example of Prophet Muhammad, Sahih Muslim 1130. The Wilderness Years, Trials and Revelations. The Torah and Mount Sinai. After their escape, the Bani Israel wandered in the Sinai desert, where Allah sustained them with manna, a sweet substance, and quails and provided water when Musa struck a rock with his staff, Quran 257, 7:160. At Mount Sinai, Allah summoned Musa for 40 days, revealing the Torah, a divine scripture containing guidance and laws, including the 10 Commandments. The Quran states, "And we wrote for him on the tablets, of the Torah, exhortation and explanation of all things, Quran 7:145. The Golden Calf Incident. In Musa's absence, the Bani Israel, led astray by a figure named Samri, crafted a golden calf from Egyptian gold and worshipped it, reverting to idolatry. Samri, described as a corrupt magician, engineered the calf to emit a sound, deceiving the people into believing it was divine, Quran 20:85-88. Returning from Sinai, Musa was furious, confronting his brother Harun, who had been unable to prevent the transgression. Musa destroyed the calf, scattering its ashes, and sought Allah's forgiveness for his people. Allah commanded the idol worshippers to repent, and according to some traditions, they faced severe punishment, including execution by their own tribes, Quran 2:54. Challenges with the Bani Israel. The Bani Israel frequently tested Musa's patience, rebelling against his leadership and Allah's commands. When ordered to enter Canaan, they refused, fearing its inhabitants, saying, "O Musa! We shall never enter it as long as they are there," Quran 5:24. As punishment, Allah decreed they wander the desert for 40 years, He said, "Therefore it shall be forbidden to them for 40 years, in distraction they will wander through the land," Quran 5:26. Despite their disobedience, Musa remained steadfast, interceding for them and guiding them toward righteousness. The Cow Incident. Another notable episode involved a murder among the Bani Israel. To identify the killer, Allah instructed them to slaughter a cow and place its tongue on the corpse, which would miraculously reveal the culprit. The Bani Israel, skeptical and argumentative, questioned Musa repeatedly about the cow's characteristics, delaying obedience. Eventually, they complied, and the miracle resolved the dispute, reinforcing Allah's authority, Quran 2:67-73. Encounters with Prophet Khidr, a.s. In a unique episode, Musa sought knowledge from a mysterious figure, identified in Islamic tradition as Prophet Khidr, a.s. Traveling with his companion Yusha bin Nun, Joshua, Musa met Khidr at a place where a fish they carried miraculously escaped into the sea. Khidr, granted divine wisdom, agreed to teach Musa on the condition that he remain patient. Khidr performed seemingly perplexing acts, damaging a boat, killing a boy, and rebuilding a wall, each of which Musa questioned. Khidr later explained that each action had a hidden divine purpose, teaching Musa the limits of human understanding and the wisdom of Allah's decrees, Quran 18:60-82, Sahih Muslim 2380a. Death and Legacy. Mysterious Passing. The Quran and Hadith describe Musa's death as a gentle transition, shrouded in mystery. A Sunni Hadith narrates that when the angel of death, Azrael, approached Musa, he initially resisted, striking the angel. Allah instructed Azrael to offer Musa additional years equal to the hairs under his hand on an ox's back. When Musa inquired about his fate after this period, Allah informed him he would die. Accepting his destiny, Musa requested to die near the Promised Land, at a distance of a stone's throw from it, Sahih Bukhari 3407. Islamic tradition holds that he was buried at Maqam el-Nabi Musa, 11 kilometers south of Jericho, a site revered by Muslims. Another account, reported by Al-Tabari, describes Musa walking with Yusha when a black wind approached, interpreted by Yusha as the hour of judgment. Musa gently withdrew, leaving his shirt in Yusha's hands, and passed away, Deuteronomy 34 verse 5, as cited in Islamic sources. The Quran does not elaborate on the cause, emphasizing only his obedience to Allah. Shrine of Nabi Musa. The tomb of Musa is traditionally located at Nabi Musa, a Muslim holy site near Jericho in the Judean desert. In 1269 CE, Mamluk Sultan Baybars built a shrine there, funded by a waqf from properties in Jericho. The site, featuring a mosque and mausoleum, became a major pilgrimage destination, hosting an annual 7-day festival from the 13th century until the 20th century. Popular tradition links the festival to Saladin's recapture of Jerusalem in 1187, though historians attribute its establishment to Baybars. The shrine served as a halting station for Hajj pilgrims, providing food and safety information, Web ID 8. Theological and spiritual significance. Role in Islam. Hazrat Musa, a.s., is a prophet and messenger, Rasul, in Islam, sent to reinforce monotheism and confirm the teachings of earlier prophets. Unlike Prophet Muhammad, who introduced a new law, Musa taught the religion of his predecessors, delivering the Torah as a guide for the Bani Israel, Quran 5:44. His title Kalamullah reflects his unique privilege of direct communication with Allah, a distinction shared by few prophets. The Quran elevates Musa above the misrepresentations found in some Judeo-Christian narratives, exonerating him and Harun from blame for the Bani Israel's actions, Quran 33:69. His story corrects historical misconceptions, emphasizing his submission to Allah and his role as a unifier of faith, Web ID 1. Lessons from his life. Musa's story offers timeless lessons. Trust in Allah, his mother's faith in placing him in the Nile and his own reliance on Allah during the sea's parting exemplify tawakkul, trust in divine wisdom. Resilience, facing Pharaoh's tyranny, the Bani Israel's rebellion, and personal trials, Musa remained steadfast. Humility, his plea for ease in speech and his time in Midian reflect humility despite his strength. Justice, his intervention for the oppressed Israelite and confrontation with Pharaoh highlight a commitment to fairness. Patience, his endurance with the Bani Israel and learning from Qadr_Sabr, patience. The Day of Ashura commemorates Musa's victory over Pharaoh, encouraging Muslims to reflect on these values, Web ID 14. Sufi and philosophical interpretations. Sufi scholars like Ibn Arabi view Musa as a symbol of spiritual eminence, embodying the virtues of the infants killed by Pharaoh. His journey to Tuwa is seen as a metaphor for the soul's quest for divine proximity, with the burning bush representing Allah's light, Web ID 0. The sixth Imam, Jafar al-Sadiq, interprets Musa's removal of sandals as a call to detach from worldly desires, aligning the heart with Allah. Legacy in Islamic and global contexts. Influence on Islamic tradition. Musa's story is central to the Quran, appearing in surahs like Al-Baqarah, Taha, Al-Qasas, and Al-Araf, among others. His name occurs 136 times, more than any other prophet, underscoring his significance. Web ID 2. Hadiths, such as those in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim, elaborate on his character, miracles, and interactions with other prophets, portraying him as a brown, curly-haired man of strength and humility. Sahih Bukhari 59:13. The Torah, revealed to Musa, is revered as a divine scripture in Islam, though Muslims believe it was altered over time, necessitating the Quran's revelation to correct distortions. Quran 5:44. Musa's miracles, staff, hand, sea parting, serve as proofs of Allah's power, inspiring faith across generations. Shared reverence in Judaism and Christianity. Musa is a pivotal figure in Judaism and Christianity, where he is known as Moses, the lawgiver who received the Ten Commandments. While Islamic accounts share similarities with the Torah, e.g., the Exodus, Mount Sinai, they differ in details, such as exonerating Musa and Harun from blame and emphasizing monotheism over tribal identity. The Quran's frequent retelling of Musa's story reinforces the shared Abrahamic heritage, fostering interfaith dialogue. Web ID 1. Cultural and historical impact. Musa's legacy extends beyond religion. The shrine of Nabi Musa, built by Baibars, became a symbol of Palestinian Muslim identity, with its festival seen as a response to Crusader influence under Saladin's legacy. Web ID 8. Archaeological findings, such as Egyptian records of plagues or the preservation of a pharaoh's body, are cited by some as corroborating the Quranic narrative, though interpretations vary. Web ID 18. In modern times, Musa's story inspires movements for justice and liberation, drawing parallels to struggles against oppression. His life is celebrated in literature, such as children's books like Tell Me About the Prophet Musa, and media, including podcasts and videos, which highlight his optimism and faith. Web ID 920. Conclusion. Hazrat Musa, a.s., is a towering figure in Islam, embodying the qualities of a prophet, leader, and servant of Allah. From his miraculous survival as an infant to his confrontation with Pharaoh, parting of the sea, and revelation of the Torah, his life is a testament to divine mercy and human resilience. His trials with the Bani Israel, encounters with Khidr, and direct communion with Allah offer profound spiritual lessons, making his story a source of inspiration for Muslims and beyond. As Kalamullah, Musa's legacy endures in the Quran's vivid narratives, hadith accounts, and cultural traditions like the Nabi Musa festival. His story bridges faiths, unites communities, and reminds humanity of the power of faith, justice, and submission to Allah. Whether through the lens of history, theology, or spirituality, Hazrat Musa, A.S., remains a beacon of guidance, his life a timeless narrative of triumph over adversity and devotion to the divine.